Folks, it's me, Denny. I'm back with episode 3 of the Dad season show. And my dog Ziggy is apparently excited about it. He waited until just when I clicked the live button to start barking at someone or something or an inanimate object upstairs. I hope that doesn't last forever. Oh well, you can't control everything, I suppose. I am officially tilting. Oh my God, Ziggy, please stop. Yes, so today for episode 3, and if you want to check out the other 2 Dad season show episodes, I'm trying to make them, very evergreen. Okay, so you can listen or watch whenever you want on YouTube, on the Dad season YouTube channel. You check it out, like, and subscribe. Smash the subscribe button. Destroy the subscribe button. Take no mercy on the subscribe button, and also like this video. Do all that stuff just for me, for your pal, for your dad pal Denny. That would be great. Thank you. So yeah, episode 3 today. We are talking about tips and tricks for rookie dads. Number 3 will blow you away. Wives not love number 4. Doctors hate number 6. I hope that doctors don't hate anything I say on this show, because that would be bad advice. Of course, there are no real tips and tricks for soon-to-be dads and for rookie dads. That was a trick to make you click on the link, and now you're trapped. You're trapped in the Dad season universe, and you can't get out. This is the Hotel California, folks. Which reminds me, I probably need an Eagles poster if we're just going to complete the boomer situation here behind me musically. But there is no real preparation you can do to cover all the bases before you become a parent. And I believe everybody in the chat is going to join today. And again, thank you for joining the chat. You all are really contributing to the show in ways that I had not anticipated, including having better opinions and more well-formulated takes than me. I'd appreciate it if you relaxed with that a little bit. But yeah, thank you for joining the chat. I think everybody joining the chat, all the parents involved, and again, you don't have to be a dad, you can be a mom, whatever. You don't even have to be a parent. You can be parent curious. I think that you would probably agree that there's no real way to totally prepare for parenthood. You're never going to be in a situation where you say, oh, I got all the bases covered. There's nothing that's tripped me up so far in my time as a parent, whether that's, 2 days into being a parent, or 6 weeks, or 6 months, or probably like 50 years. Okay. You could probably just stretch that all the way out. And I hope that the, advice, the little talking points that I have prepared for today for new or soon to be dads and moms, I hope that can be, kind of easily shifted toward and used later in parenthood for the veteran dads and moms among us. I wish that I had known some of these things. I wish that someone would have grabbed me by the collar or by the t-shirt, my David Bowie t-shirt. Actually, this might be a Bowie, Maryland t-shirt. It's hard to say. I got it online. I'm not sure if it represents Bowie, Maryland or David Bowie. Either way, it says Bowie. So I'm going to pretend it is David. Anyway, I wish someone had grabbed me and said, listen, son, you gotta know these things about being a parent. It'll make you a better parent and slightly happier, slightly more content with your very new situation. I appreciate everybody jumping in the chat here. Nathan, yes, the dads are up. It's true. I can confirm that. Yes, Germs the Germ says, Ziggy, my dog, has tips as well. And that's actually true. I talked to him before the show. And Nathan wants us to know that he will never relax. Ted says, I have liked the show. Am I good? You actually, that's all you got to do. Look, like I'm like a TV preacher. I'm like a televangelist. You like my video and you are going to instantly become a good dad. That's all it takes, folks. Let's gather together. Let's like my videos. Let's become good dads. And then I faint or something. I think that's how it goes. Before I get started on today's topic, which again, tips and tricks you won't believe. Number 7 for new dads. I don't actually have 7, so I hope that's okay. I wanted to address a common dad meme, which is that dads get emotional when they hear Cats in the Cradle, okay, a song, I believe from the late 70s by a singer-songwriter named Harry Chapin. It's hard to say. Harry Chapin. Not Mary Chapin Carpenter, but Harry Chapin. And you know the song, Cats in the Cradle, okay? Cats in the Cradle in the Silver Spring, A Little Blue, and The Man in the Moon. When you come home, Dad, I don't know when. We'll get together then. That song, right? And I want to confirm. I just want to confirm that it's true what they say about dads getting weepy over that song. I don't hear it very often. I don't know. I mean, I don't have a spreadsheet tracking how often I hear Cats in the Cradle, but I'm guessing I hear it once a year, maybe a couple times a year on local radio, on the soft rock station. Okay. Because sometimes I flip off the classic rock station because you know what, folks? A Beautiful Day by U2 from the year 2000. That ain't classic rock. It's not. Okay. And I get mad. I get upset when they try to pass off U2 from the 21st century as classic rock. Just because it's an old song now, when I was a senior in high school, doesn't mean it's classic. Classic rock had a cutoff point, folks. It did. You can't, there is no more entries. There are no more entries into classic rock. It's over. It's over. It ended, I don't know. I mean, I don't want to put a hard date on it, but I'd say 1972, maybe 4. Okay. And that's it. Okay. So when the classic rock station is playing that, garbage from the 2000s, and I need to get off that, and NPR has something on, I don't know, food or cooking, as if NPR is not familiar with the concept that all food is the same. It's all equally good and bad. So if NPR is no good, classic rock's no good, I go to the soft rock, and sometimes the soft rock, soft rock station plays Cats in the Cradle, and I'm driving, and maybe I'm driving to school to pick up the kids. Maybe I'm driving to, I don't know, Home Depot for the 3rd time to get the right kind of water filter. Okay. I'm not good with water filters, with buying water filters. I need to take multiple trips to Home Depot to get the right one. Maybe I'm driving there. Maybe I'm driving to the driving range to hit a few balls. Okay. Trying to work on that swing. Okay. Try not to swing like a maniac, like an absolute animal, like I did when I was 20 years old. Maybe I'm driving there and I hear it, and yeah, I get a little emotional. I mean, I'm not bawling, but I get a little like, oh God, I feel emotion, must suppress. I gotta stop this before it overtakes me and salty water starts coming out of my eyes. Sometimes I'm successful and sometimes I'm not. I will say, though, about that song, about Cats in the Cradle, I bet you didn't know we were going to start with 10 minutes of Cats in the Cradle analysis. I will say with that song, though, I don't entirely relate to it because the part, okay, so the part at the end, okay, where the old man is I've long since retired. My son's moved away. I called him up the other day. I said, I'd like to see you if you don't mind. He said, I'd love to, Dad, if I can find the time. You see, my job's a hassle and the kids have the flu, but it's sure nice talking to you, Dad. It's sure nice talking to you. I can't relate to that because I always take the call from my dad, and I'll find a way. I'll find a way to talk with him. I hope my kids do the same. Maybe they won't. But I'm also not, hustling and bustling like the dad in this song. This dad, hey, this dad's a grinder. Okay, you think grind culture is new? Okay, is some aspect of 21st century dystopia? No, man. No, the narrator in Cats in the Cradle is grinding his ass off. He's grinding hard. Okay. He may be working 2 jobs. Maybe he's sacrificing sleep. He's drinking coffee all day. He's trying to find ways to maximize his income, to optimize his schedule. He's using an AI tool back in the 70s to make his schedule the optimal schedule. And his son's taking notes. And so his son doesn't have time. By the whatever it is, late 90s, early 90s, whatever. I can't really do the math in my head right now. He doesn't have the time to talk to his dad. I can't relate to that. Maybe you guys can. I'm now in tears in the office. Yes, you're welcome. Yeah, that's how it goes. That's how it goes. Just you rambling the lyrics made me weepy. Right? I know. Thank you, Matt Blair, for joining the chat. Matt Blair, who I can only hope that I'm as funny as Matt Blair when I grow up. But anyway, that song came on the other day, and I welled up. I felt the emotion, and it made me think, just on a more serious note, a little more earnest. I guess how much I will miss, how much I will miss this time in my life one day. As much as it seems like you won't ever miss this time, I get that. You think, oh, if I could just if we just get them through elementary school, if we just get them through high school to college, whatever, there's always a future point that we can project toward, right? And say, well, things will be good then. Maybe they're good now. Maybe that's a thought. I'm not being flippant. That's a thought that's crossed my mind. Maybe they're just good now. When I drop off my kids in the morning, and I see them kind of waddling with their big backpacks towards school, I'm like, how do I appreciate this in this moment right now? I think on The Office, I think Pam, it was Pam who said she wants to take a mental picture of Jim to remember, right? And as corny as that is, I find myself wanting to do that, seeing the kids walk and think, oh my God, when I'm like 65, 70 years old, which honestly is like right around the corner, weirdly enough, when I'm that old, and I think back, oh man, those were the days. But you're not thinking that in the moment. You're not thinking that during the actual days. You don't appreciate it. I mean, maybe that's just human nature. I'm sure I'm not alone in that. Sal says, if this dad wasn't grinding, the dad, by the way, in Cats in the Cradle, the kid wouldn't have had so much time for this much introspection and would have been working, right? Exactly. I'm glad that we can all come together and analyze this extremely cheesy soft rock song. And yes, Daniel Alt says it's soft rock season. It's never not soft rock season. It's actually almost warm enough. It's warm today, by the way, in Maryland, 65 degrees. It feels like after January and February, it feels like it's 90 degrees outside. I mean, I want to wear a Speedo in the back and just lie down in the backyard. I won't, because I don't want to be arrested. Okay. And I don't want to embarrass the other dads in the neighborhood. Okay. With my cologne ad body. I don't want to do that. I'm kidding. But it's wonderful. And speaking of soft rock, it's almost yacht rock season. I have gotten into yacht rock bigly over the past, I don't know, 2 or 3 summers. And I have a playlist and everything. Maybe I can share it with you weirdos, if you're into it. And yeah, right. Talking about Cats in the Cradle, George says, can confirm it hits different before versus after you become, right? Because before your dad, you're just imagining it, right? You're just imagining, oh, how will it feel? How will it feel to have these thoughts and these experiences? But then after, you start to get a real sense of it, and that's when you, oh God, please don't cry. Oh God, I can't. Must be tough. I'm kidding. You should always let yourself cry. Always. I mean, there is too much crying. Let's not get crazy. Let's not sob in public. Okay. But you can cry. I give you permission. All right. We're going to get on with the show here. Tips and tricks for new dads. And, actually, I've heard from a few soon to be dads and dads, new dads, some would say, and they have asked for this sort of hashtag content. And I'm here to deliver that. And again, I think that these lessons can be carried over into much later parenthood. Okay. Not just, like 4 or 5 years old, I'm talking double digit ages, crazy stuff. I know maybe you guys can confirm that as we go on. So I wanted to start by reading a quote from Carl Jung. And when I'm quoting Carl Jung, it's not to promote him or to say that I agree with him, because I've read several Carl Jung books and I vehemently disagree with the man. Okay. As well spoken and as famous as Carl Jung is, mostly he just wanted everybody to get along, and he was willing to give in to the worst parts of society in order for that to happen. But he did say one thing that I agree with, which is this. He said this in the early 1950s during a magazine interview. He said, quote, "The vanity of men is in most cases a result of their professional activities. The extent it reaches is sometimes almost grotesque." That is absolutely true. Carl, if you're listening, you got one thing right. That's right. Okay. So when you enter, sorry, George, gotta X that out. When you enter parenthood with this grotesque vanity, it's going to trip you up. It just is, because that vanity, it cannot exist alongside being a responsible parent. It just, those two things can't exist together. Okay. You have to choose one or the other. And for me, I tried desperately to hold on to each, or to do each, to achieve each, to be grotesquely vain, which I am. It's a shortcoming of mine. I'm working on it. I hope to be not grotesquely vain one day. I think I have improved on that over the last couple of years, but to think, I am the center of the universe. I am the most important person on earth. And this message, by the way, is hammered into us, men, especially boys, growing up. And I think as a Western civilization, the individual is at the center of it all, right? And nothing else matters. No one else and nothing else matters except for you. This is the unequivocal message that we are given early in life, and it is emphasized again and again and again through ads, through shows, through movies, through books, through whatever, through school, okay, through church, any kind of worship. You're the center. Nothing matters but your happiness. And so when you take that mindset into parenthood, suddenly something does matter outside of your happiness, and it's the health and well-being of a little baby. And if you, by the way, if you take this mindset into marriage, you're probably screwed too. Okay. I mean, I think that it can kind of exist in marriage, depending on the nature of the relationship. But if you take it into parenthood, it's over. Like you're going to be a bad parent. You are. It's just the case, because you are going to prioritize yourself over the needs of your child, and you're going to think that this is the way it should be, because I'm me and I'm important. I've always been told that I'm important. I'm at the center of everything. Nothing really matters except for my desires, except for my grotesque vanity. I must service that at all costs. And yeah, I mean, I'll be there for the baby. I'll be there. I'll do this and I'll do that. I'll take some nice pictures. I'll hold the baby, but I'm not doing all that. I ain't reading all that. I'm not waking up in the middle of the night. I'm not going on long walks with a stroller in the cold or the heat to try to soothe the baby. All right. I'm not learning how to change a diaper. Things of that nature, right? These are the shortcomings of a grotesquely vain person, particularly a man. This is just my experience. So you have to rid yourself. First, you have to recognize it, and this is what we come back to every dad season show, right? And by the way, like and subscribe, dad season show. Every dad season show we come back to, we have to become conscious of this problem. We have to recognize it for what it is, or we can't address it. In the first episode about strategic incompetence, you don't know you're doing it sometimes, right? And you have to recognize it. In episode 2 on authoritarian parenting, you don't know that you're doing it. Someone must tell you, or you must recognize yourself that yes, you're doing the authoritarian thing. And you have to recognize that before you change it. Otherwise, you are not going to change it. And so now here we are in episode 3, and you have to recognize that putting yourself at the center of the universe when you are a parent, that must change. You have to see that in order for it to change. So if you're headed into parenthood, or if you're new to parenthood, my suggestion would be to try to recognize that within yourself. Am I grotesquely vain? And if you're honest with yourself, I think that you will see some of that within. Maybe to different extents for different people, but you will recognize that, and you'll say that this is holding me back, right? This is helping me to create excuses as to why I am not being the parent that I can. I'm not helping raise this child the way that I can if I applied myself. We all have great potential. I believe in your potential. Okay? Sometimes when I was a new dad, I didn't believe in my potential. I just can't do it. I can't do it. I can't rock the baby for the 5th time for nap time. I can't do the swaddle right. We do swaddles now. Okay. The millennials, they swaddle the baby to make it feel, to put it in like a little baby burrito like this. And that makes them feel like they're in the womb or something. And you're trying to recreate the womb, folks. That's the key. The swaddle, the little sound machine, which is apparently what they hear. They hear a sound machine in the womb. And so you're trying to recreate, and you say, this isn't for me. I have books to read. I have things to write. I have shows to watch. I have podcasts to listen to. I have exercise to do. Okay. I have golf to play. I have friends to talk to. I have beer to drink. I have patio fires to start. I have friends to come over. I have all these things that I have to do, because those things make me happy. This doesn't make me happy. Going into the room again, the baby's room again, and having to put the baby down again, that makes me the opposite of happy. I am impatient now. I would like to go do something I want to do. And this is the grotesque vanity rearing its hideous head. And that will absolutely hurt you as a parent, even if you have good intentions. And of course you have good intentions. Everybody, well, can't speak for everybody. The vast majority of people who have children have good intentions at first. I'm going to do this the right way. I'm going to be a good parent. But they don't recognize that within themselves, that vanity within themselves, and they try to hold on to both. They desperately hold on. It's like being pulled apart by 2 ropes. You're holding on. Your shoulders are about to pop out of their sockets because you're holding on for dear life. I want to be a good parent, but I also want to sit by the fire and drink beer with friends. And you have to let go of one of them. You gotta let go of one of them. And so you let go of the baby one, or you let go of the sitting around the fire with drinking beer with friends one. I'm not saying that you can never have fun as a parent, but there is a part of early parenthood where that, at least in my experience, that is the case. You're not having fun. You got to put fun on the shelf. I'll tell you a story. Let me tell you a story. When we had our second child, okay, she's now 7, so this was 2016. I was working at a company that had extraordinary family leave policy, right? Something, I mean, straight out of like Finland, okay, out of like Switzerland. I had 6 months of paid family leave. What is that? I live in the United States. I'm not supposed to have that. I think I actually looked it up. I think I was among like 4% of American males who had that sort of policy available to me, fully paid family leave. Now, lots of companies have family leave. You're not paid, or maybe you're paid a little bit, not fully paid. 6 months, crazy. My first kid, I had this much family leave, 0. I think I was back to work 48 hours after my son was born, and it was so taxing on my wife, so taxing, such a difficult time for her, which I didn't even really recognize at that point because it was just normal for dads to go back to work. But yeah, 6 months, and that was extraordinarily helpful in being able to be a good dad who was there. But here's the thing, guys, I still was an asshole. There would be times during the day when, the baby would be asleep and my son would be at nursery school or whatever. And I would sit down to write an article, okay? Instead of trying to get ahead of the baby situation, trying to get ahead of, maybe pre-making dinner, okay? Cleaning up the kitchen, doing some outdoor chores while I could. I had 6 months of what I saw as vacation rather than 6 months of just being in dad mode, which is how I should have seen it. And I didn't. And I would sit down to write articles, and this rightfully aggravated my wife. And if the roles had been reversed, I would have been furious. But at that time in 2016, I had not recognized the aforementioned vanity within me. And I thought, well, everything's fine. The baby's down. I have free time. I'm simply going to write because I like to write. As you know, I never stop writing, and I wanted to keep writing. That was even with family leave. Now, family leave did allow me, and I'm not trying to paint myself as like super dad, okay? I'm sure anybody watching would have done the same thing. It allowed me to share nighttime responsibilities with my wife, so that I would, get up in the middle of the night, thaw out some breast milk, and feed the baby. If everything went, okay, then the baby would go back down, and my wife could get 4 or maybe even, crazily enough, 6 hours of consecutive sleep. So that is something I guess I was blessed with. Really, not many folks in America get that sort of privilege, and I still tried to mess it up. So if you have that opportunity to spend time, it doesn't have to be 6 months. Could be a week, could be a few weeks, a few months, whatever. If you have that opportunity as a guy, I would encourage you to take full advantage by completely shelving your desires. Okay? You got to become monk-like. Okay? Just stop trying to live your former life. That is one piece of advice that I would give anybody who's about to become a parent is this is a completely new ball game. It is utterly new, and you must not try to live your pre-baby life. If you do, the tension between trying to live that pre-baby life and living the current baby life will tear you apart. It'll make you miserable. And consequently, it'll make your partner miserable. And once your kid gets old enough, it'll make the child miserable. Because the tension is real. The tension is real, and people can feel it, and it affects the way that you operate with everyone around you. I've made this mistake. This is a big part of the reason why I wanted to do the Dad Season show. It's because I've made, according to the analytics, all the mistakes. I've made all of them. Okay? Because I thought I knew it all. I didn't, it turns out. And I suffered the consequences. And I'm trying to start a dialogue so maybe folks can hear this or watch this and say, hey, I like this, and I'll like and subscribe. And hey, I didn't know, I didn't realize these things. Thanks for sharing your failings with me. This is what I'm doing. I'm trying to share my shortcomings and my complete and almost humiliating failings as a parent. This is what the Dad Season show is about. All right, let's get to some of your questions, and then we'll move on with tips and tricks for new parents. Matt is back. Quote, what do you mean we have a kid's birthday party? I gotta watch Duck Hodges and the 7-7 Steelers take on the 5-9 Dolphins. Yes, indeed. A lot of you know me from talking about football on the internet, and Sundays are going to be a problem for you, buddy. You better learn how to speak kids' birthday party, buddy. Because you grinding football for 8 or 10 hours on a Sunday, that's not shouldn't it? Honestly, I'll be judgmental. It shouldn't be happening. It shouldn't be happening at that part of your life. Okay, we talk about this is Dad Season show. This is the season of your life, and the season of your life, buddy, doesn't include watching Red Zone for 9 hours straight on a Sunday when you have a baby. It doesn't. That's over. It's over for you. For now. Later on in life, it'll be back. You'll be back. You'll be back on the couch, vegetating, getting fatter all the time, watching 7, 8, 9 hours of football, pretending it matters, all that stuff. You'll be back. But there is a time when you got to take it. You got to take that thing that you love, which is watching football, watching Duck Hodges, okay, the worst quarterback in the history of modern football. You got to playing the garbage Miami Dolphins, and you got to take that and you got to place it on the shelf. And you just got to ignore it. It's not there. It's not there anymore. I don't see it. I don't recognize it. It's gone. I'm a dad now. I got to go to this kid's birthday party. I got to go to Chuck E. Cheese for the 3rd time in 60 days. I got to see the freaky mouse dancing around and literally kids screaming in horror because they're scared of the mouse. Okay? Yeah, I got to see all that. I got to be there. And don't check your phone, which is something I have failed spectacularly with over the years. Checking my don't be at the birthday party and be like this. How's my DraftKings doing? How's this doing? How my bets doing? How's the over looking? How's the under looking? Don't do that. I have to sneeze. I'm trying desperately not to sneeze. So yeah, I mean there is a time when you like Matt said, I mean you gotta I think recognizing again consciousness, creating recognition within yourself. These are very, very difficult things that I struggle with. Okay, and still, but being able to see how ridiculous it is to want to watch football when you have little kids, and you're trying to raise them along with your partner. Seeing that is important. George is back. Yes. So talking about the vanity that Carl Jung talked about, the vanity of men. this vanity tests friendships too. You find out quick which friends are vain and which ones understand the need to make sacrifices for your kids. Those latter friendships are the much stronger now. Man, that's a good point, George. I don't know if I didn't have any close friends who didn't understand my situation had changed, but I did have sort of, acquaintances who I would have over sometimes. I'd go over their house who were like, "Oh man, like I guess we're not buddies anymore. I guess we're not going to do anything anymore." And I was like, "Yeah, I can't. Sorry." Like, and they didn't have kids, and that's all right. People's lives, they take different directions, they go down different paths. And I think you just have to accept that. But my best friend since middle school never even hinted, that he had an issue with me and my wife, who he's known since she was in high school as well. Us making sacrifices would affect the relationship with him, and I always appreciated that a lot. Even though I never told him. Maybe I should tell him. Maybe he'll see this and he'll know. Sal's back. I gave up college football and gaming for the 9 hours on Sunday. Right. Listen. My goal in Dad Season Show is not to be judgmental, because like I said, I've been a complete dumbass for a lot of my parenthood. I will say, guys, gaming, it's got to go. Gaming's got to go. Maybe can't sit around in your pajamas for 7 hours straight playing Madden. I don't know. It's a thought. It's a thought. That's something to put on the shelf for a while. Dad's gaming all day, man. I don't. That's something that I do not understand. All right, Nathan. Nathan, fantasy football is good for this because you can play it, but as Denny will tell you, you don't actually have to watch it. Exactly. You don't have to. I stand by that. You don't have to watch football. Okay? You look at the spreadsheets, you look at the dots, you maybe read a little bit about it. You read some trusted analysts for NBC Sports, and you go on your merry way. All right? Like, you don't have to be, "Oh, George Pickens has great sideline ability. Puka Nacua is a fantastic underneath receiver. Makes people miss." You can see that in the stats, brother. You don't have to watch the games. In fact, my years-long theory is that watching the games pollutes your evaluation of players. At least mine. Okay, unless you know what you're talking about, unless you know what you're watching. If you're well versed in how football works, in how schemes work, and how players perform, and what is good and bad, then that's a different story. But if you're just a dude watching football, that doesn't help you at all. Watching the game, it's fun, but I mean, if you want to be good at fantasy football, you don't have to watch the games. That's a fact, brother. I feel like Hulk Hogan. Daniel, I watched one full football game this season, the Super Bowl. Yeah, I mean, there were seasons where I would not watch any football at all, and I would do fantasy podcasts back in, I'm talking like 2014, 15, 16, in that area. I would, go several Sundays sometimes without watching anything. And so, I mean, you do lose a little bit as an analyst, because, I have JJ Zacharyson asking me, "Did you see that crazy play in the Steelers game?" And I'd say, I did not see that. I do know that they had 245 yards passing in the second half, but that's all I know. All right. Yeah. Sarah, I believe a long time living the stream listener. Appreciate that, Sarah. Sarah says, "I missed an NFC Championship game my team ended up losing for a kid's birthday. But imagine how shitty I'd feel if I made her miss the party and they lost. Exactly. Or if they won. Yeah, it'd still be a shitty feeling, right? You have to sacrifice your desires and needs. Well, I say desires. I won't lump needs into that, because I don't like when I hear like a parent saying, "Oh man, like I didn't have breakfast or lunch." That's not good. You gotta eat, and hopefully eventually you gotta sleep or you'll go insane. So needs are a different thing, but yeah, your desires, they have to take a back seat. That's uh for guys. Listen, I think women get this inherently, because women are just stronger. They're just way stronger. Carl Jung actually talked about that in the interview I referenced a minute ago. How women, internally were much stronger than the men that he analyzed psychologically. And I have encountered no evidence to the contrary. And so I think guys need to prepare themselves to make that sacrifice before their kid comes into the world. If you can, I promise you, uh, you will appreciate that time of your life more. The worst case scenario with the the push and pull between wanting to do what you want to do and having to do the parent thing, the worst case scenario is that a resentment builds in you, and that's your fault. Like you are building up that resentment within you. And I had resentment. I did. I've had resentment through many parts of my fatherhood, because again, I'm grotesquely vain and want to do what I want to do, because that's how it goes, right? That's how it works. We're supposed to be able to do what we want to do. It's not how it works when you're a parent. And so my other here's another tip and or trick for new parents. Avoid the woe is me mindset, because the woe is me mindset, it naturally flows from the resentment. You build up the resentment little by little. Eventually it becomes nearly overwhelming, and it kind of dominates your thoughts, right? That resentment. And then you say, woe unto me, I can't watch the NFC championship game. Woe unto me. What could be worse than this? By the way, there are a lot of things. I've looked into it powerfully, and I have found other things that are worse than missing the NFC championship game, like missing the AFC championship game. That's one thing that's worse. And so you're going around in your everyday life thinking, why have I been cursed with this responsibility that has destroyed the things that I like to do? You brought it on yourself. I mean, not everybody plans a family, but a lot of us have. And I guess the thought is that you can just introduce the child into your life and continue doing what you were going to do, and that what you've always done as an adult, as a married adult, whatever it is. Okay, married, unmarried, living with, whatever it is. You think that you can mix, you can commingle those two things. You can't. So the resentment builds. Woe is me. This is a thought I've had, and it's actually like tragic. If I didn't have kids, I could have written that great American novel. I could have written that book that I have up here. Okay. But I did write a book in 2018, and it's currently in my Google files, whatever it's called, Google Docs. Maybe I'll publish it one day. But yeah, all the book ideas that I have in my head, I could have written those books, but didn't, because of the kids. Come on. Who am I kidding? I wouldn't have written them anyway. I would have found another excuse. My job is too demanding. I don't have time. I don't have time to read, to write that book. If only I didn't have a job. If only I didn't have this. If only I didn't have if I were able to live in a cabin, an internetless cabin in the woods For 6 months, I could write that great novel. I know I could. And you know what? You wouldn't. I still wouldn't. I'd find a way. I'd find a way not to. I would walk. I would walk for miles and miles through the forest. I would brave Jason Voorhees in that forest, and I would eventually get to someplace with internet, with Wi-Fi, and I would check DraftKings. That's what I do. So it's not the kids. It's not the kids that are slowing you up. It's you. It's you. So no, you got to avoid that. Do away, banish the woe is me mindset. It is so alluring because it allows you to put blame on everybody else and everything else. All these factors, all these people. The little baby in the crib screaming all night. You just put the blame. Boom, blame. I'm shoveling off blame to everybody so that it doesn't fall on me. And it feels good. But in the long run, it doesn't help you at all. At all. Woe is not unto you. You're fine. Okay? Toughen up, buttercup, is my advice there. Let's get some of your comments here. Nathan? Yeah, right. Best season ever, watching clips. Exactly. Sarah's back. Also, though, if I really wanted to watch a game, I'll find other parents who like football and have a play date so the kids can entertain each other. Sure, my house will be a mess. That's true. But that's the tax. It is the tax. The messy house tax is real. I remember that when the kids were little and we would have other little kids over, and when everybody left, and we'd have a good time, everybody, but it would be a situation where I would look around and I would go, okay, we just have to sell the house as is. I'm not cleaning up this mess. Like we have to just put it on the market and say, you're taking this as is, because I refuse. There's just too much to pick up. And eventually you do pick it up, and it's okay. And it is okay. All right. Next tip and or trick for new parents. You got to guarantee some base level of sleep for both partners in the relationship. I understand that people's socioeconomic standing doesn't allow this a lot of times. I'm not ignorant to that. So I'm not saying, well, everybody can just not go to work the next day. Everybody can get family leave. Oh, you want to hear something? I almost said paternity leave, which, yeah, we just call it family leave. Okay, it normalizes dads getting that leave and being a parent, being a co-equal part of that relationship and that baby raising, child rearing. So parental leave is a good phrase, I think. But my grandfather, when he heard that I got 6 months of what he called paternity leave, laughed. I mean, it was the funniest damn thing my grandpa had ever heard, like belly laughing. And he was not a particularly jovial man. Okay. He wasn't one to, offer more than a little chuckle. When even if you told him an elaborate joke. Okay. But he thought this was great. This was fantastic. Knee slappingly funny. Denny, you got 6 months of paternity leave. What the hell are you going to do with 6 months? What are you going to do, son? Yeah, you going to live the life? You're getting paid to sit around and do nothing? Because, the boomers and the greatest generation, whatever they're called, if they got 6 months, they would not be involved at all. That would be a literal 6-month vacation because they had no part in raising the child. Dads today, us millennials and the Zoomers, trying to correct that. And I do say correct because it is not okay. I think almost everybody would encourage, except for like the weird like trad people online, but almost everybody would encourage if women want to work outside the home, then they need to be able to do that. Obviously, okay, this is like an idea that has taken root for 40 years now, okay, and But you can't do that while simultaneously saying the dad's role in the home doesn't change. Otherwise, the woman is doing everything at home and everything at work. And they're being exploited. They're being exploited in that way. So both roles have to change. I know this is very simple, concept, a concept that you've considered probably many times. But it did strike me as uh, incredibly exploitative to say, yeah, for sure, women should be able to do whatever they want outside the home, whatever. But I'm not changing what I do in the home. That's not happening. That has to change. Otherwise, it's just pure labor exploitation. You got to stop that. You gotta be aware of that. I think as a millennial generation, I think generally we are aware of that. Sometimes I watch 80s commercials on YouTube. It's true. It's true. I do that. And there are some doozies back in like the mid to late 80s about women going to work. Oh boy. I mean, diet pills so that they can fit in their slacks, whatever, while they go to work. Oh man, it is problematic. Those commercials from the mid and late 80s, women going to work. But it was a new concept, and you could really tell. You could really tell. All right, Tyler's in the chat, says, hello and howdy. Yeah, I'm aware my kids having friends are mostly unavailable and I act accordingly. Yeah, exactly. My buddy my buddy had his kid during COVID, and thus they had one of the best American early rearing bonding experiences, global pandemic aside. Yeah, right, because people were working from home primarily, and I could definitely see that. Man, parenting during COVID, that was another thing. I'm not going to get into that now because we only have 5 more minutes left in the show, folks. Thank you for joining, by the way. Dad Season Show, like and subscribe, things like that. Malte says COVID was the best time to have a newborn apart from being scared your baby getting COVID. I definitely can imagine that. I guess my kids were 7 and 3 when COVID started. All right, folks, tips and tricks for new dads. The last one. You know what? I never even got to this. The taking shifts at night. Yeah, like I didn't finish that point. Sleep, as you know, is important. The primarily, I think the mom takes on the brunt of that responsibility and becomes sleep deprived very quickly. Okay, like that stuff happens in a hurry. It doesn't take weeks; it takes days. But you add that up over the weeks and over the months, and you can see the difference. I mean, my wife struggled with that big time, especially with our first kid, and I wasn't fully recognizing it for what it was. So if there's any way for you as a guy entering dad season to help with that and to create some base level of sleep for your partner, you do it. Like do kind of pretty much whatever it takes to be able to afford that person enough sleep to get by. The 7 and 8 hour nights, those are over for a while, not forever, but for a while. But if both people are sacrificing that time at night, then you should be okay. You should be able to get along and not completely lose your mind with sleep deprivation. So that's definitely one thing I wanted to mention. And then the last thing was seek parental knowledge and avoid strategic incompetence by, quote, learning stuff. Okay? Like I said, I believe in your potential as a dude entering dad season. I believe it. I believe in you. You should believe in you too. You should look up trusted sources online, which I know tough to find, but trusted sources online, what to do, how to raise a baby, little tricks, tricks to be able to put the baby down, to be able to properly feed the baby. Things you did not know before entering fatherhood, you can look those up. You can quickly learn. Okay, you got to kind of give yourself a crash course, hopefully before the child comes into the world. And I think you will find that you are more prepared, not totally prepared, because I said at the beginning of the show, folks, there is no world in which you are totally prepared. You're just not going to be. You're going to find yourself at a complete loss sometimes, no matter how much you think you've read up on the subject, no matter how many dad season shows you've watched. But again, I just want to close the show with this: recognizing that you cannot live the pre-dad life with the current dad life. You have to let one go. Recognizing that reality, I think, is most important, and that will, I think, push you in the right path to being a not totally incompetent father. And that's what you're here for, Dad Season Show. You don't want to be incompetent, and I respect that. Folks, thanks for joining me for episode 3 of the Dad Season Show. Appreciate everybody jumping into the chat and contributing to the show. Again, like and subscribe if you haven't already, and share the show with some folks. Until then, I'll see you in Dad Season.